Hello, everybody. My name is Jacob, and I like sports. Welcome to another edition of JK Sports. And today we're going to be talking about the hopefully soon to return NBA playoffs, or soon to come NBA playoffs. Now, assuming everything goes to normal, assuming everything comes back, and we get a normal playoffs, we get a normal 8-8 on each side series that, unfortunately, not the plan that I envisioned in my previous video about the return to sports. However, assuming that the playoff structure stands how it is, assuming the standings also stay how they are, this is my opinion of what I think is going to happen. So let's start with the Eastern Conference first. So the first series is the 1 versus 8 matchup, which is the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Orlando Magic. Now, I don't think anybody's have to be geniuses to think that the Bucks are going to sweep them. Giannis, Chris Middleton against Aaron Gordon, Nikola Vucevic. I don't think it's really going to happen. I don't think they're even going to get a win. I think it's going to be a 4-0 sweep, and I, how much really more do you need to say about that? Now, the next series, it unfortunately could have been a lot better if it were just the two, slight minor injuries, that being Raptors versus Nets, and of course, the two small players I am referring to are Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. If they weren't injured, it'd be a lot different series. Now, I think those two players are better than any player on the Raptors currently. So, if you add those into the dynamic, even if you add just one player to the dynamic, maybe they could snag a few games, could even win the series, the Nets, that be. But they're injured, and most likely they're not going to come back. So with that in mind, I'm going to have to give it to the Raptors 4-1. Now, the next series is going to be the most fun series, hopefully, in the Eastern Conference in the first round, that being the Celtics versus the 76ers. And it's going to be really interesting to see if this break has actually helped the 76ers, because we all know the chemistry issues they've had for the last few years. And of course, this year especially, that there's a power struggle. Is Brett Brown really the guy to coach them along? Is Joel Embiid? Is Ben Simmons? Do the two of them really work together that well? And then you got the Celtics, who seem to be a very well-oiled machine. You got Kemba Walker, you got Jason Tatum, that you got really good bench players. You got, not even necessarily bench players. You got really other good supporting cast with Gordon Hayward, Jaylen Brown. So, you take a team that can work together and has played better in the season versus a team that has slightly disappointed and can't really play together. I think it's going to be the Celtics in a 4-2 win. Now, the next would be most of our Miami Heat playing the Indiana Pacers, and I mean the matchup's close. It's a 4 versus 5 matchup, but it doesn't really feel like it. You got the Heat, who are this tough, gritty team. You got Bam Adebayo, you got Jimmy Butler, that they really just punch you in your face, like, we're here to play players. And then you got the Indiana Pacers, which, unless I'm mistaken, the last time we played them was when Jimmy and that scrub got into a fight, and we ended up winning by like 30. Excuse me. Um, yeah, 4-1 Heat. I can't see it being that drawn out of the series. Victor Oladipo is their best player, but he can't do everything by himself, and he's probably getting a little fed up that he doesn't have any other support. So that leads to the Eastern Conference semifinals, which be the first matchup will be the Bucks versus Heat. So, as much as I want to say I think the Heat will win, and I think it's going to be a good series, I think it's going to go all the way out to 7 games. And the Heat could win. The Heat very well could. We have a very good defense. We have a very good system put in play that could minimize Giannis, which is similar that the Raptors did last year, find a way to minimize him and then try to get the rest of the team to score, which is what I believe we will do. However, I don't think it'll be enough in the end. I think it will go to 7, but I think because the home court advantage, at the very least, the Bucks will get that Game 7 win, and the series will end up being 4-3. Unfortunately, a not so happy ending for our Miami Heat, but we've had a great season, and it's been really good to see the progress we've made. And then going to the next season, hopefully Tyler Hero can stay healthy, Kendrick Nunn continue to progress, Bam Adebayo is he's been doing everything we asked of him. He's just the absolute workaholic, and then Jimmy Butler is the star we didn't know we needed, but we definitely needed because he fits our culture so well. The next series would be Raptors versus Celtics, and NBA is a lot about stars. NBA is a very star-driven league. It's a very momentum-driven league, and I don't think the Raptors have it. Now, they had a great regular season. They had that 15-game winning streak. I mean, if you want to dig deeper on that 15-game winning streak, it wasn't against the best of the competition. You got Pascal Siakam's playing very well. Kyle Lowry's still there. Marc Gasol is still there. However, just the younger in my opinion, better Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum's had a breakout season. He's a MVP candidate. Uh, Once again, I think it's going to be a close series, but I don't even think it's going to go to 7. I think I got Celtics going 4-2 on that one. And that leads us to the Eastern Conference Finals. So, very similar to last year. Very similar to Bucks versus Raptors. A team with the Celtics that a lot of us had questions whether it would all work, especially after losing Kyrie Irving, whether bringing Kemba Walker in was the right idea. And so far, we've seen that it has worked. The on-court dynamic of Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they're all making it work. There's a lot of mouths to feed there, but they're really making it work. And you take that Bucks team, which this is where they lost last year. You minimize Giannis. You find a way to minimize Giannis, and that's a recipe for winning. You see that the Bucks went up 2-0 last year, and then were swept in those remaining 4 games because the Raptors changed up their defense, went to a guard the paint heavy defense. And if the Celtics can figure that out, which I think they will, I think they're going to win the series. Probably, I got it going 7, 6, 7. Take your pick. I got the Celtics winning. So my Eastern Conference representative is the Boston Celtics at 4-3. So now let's look at the Western Conference. Very first series is very similar to the first series in the Eastern Conference, that being the Lakers versus Grizzlies. Now, the Grizzlies are an exciting team. They got Ja Morant. They're an up-and-coming team. They need a lot more. He's the star they need. He's the juice they need. He's really brought in some excitement to that team of young players that weren't expected to do too much this year. And, of course, this is assuming the playoffs stop as it is. You still got the Pelicans coming up behind, which is very similar with Zion Williamson being really young and bringing that energy to New Orleans. However, it's the Lakers, it's LeBron, it's Anthony Davis, 4-0. Very similar to that first series in the Eastern Conference. Excuse me. Now, Clippers versus Mavericks. I like the Mavericks. I went to see them play against the Heat when they came down here a few months ago now. Jeez, a few years ago. And they've got really good stars. Doncic, Kristaps against the Heat, they both dropped around 40, I think. However, it's once you get past those two, that team's terrible. I mean, I can't even think of their names right now. Just they don't give. I mean, Seth Curry gets a little bit. They get a little bit out of him if he can start hitting his shots. Hit them threes. But they got no other help around the team. And if they want to be serious, they need to build that team up. And then there's the Clippers, Kawhi, Paul George. I got them winning. I'll give the Mavericks a game, gentleman's sweep, 4-1. Now the Nuggets and Rockets. And most of you guys know that I'm not the biggest fan of the Rockets. I'm not the biggest fan of how the offensive system works. It's pretty much just run down court, shoot a 3, get a layup. Not really much of an offensive system other than just get in the right spot. And I like James Harden. I like James Harden. I like watching Russell Westbrook. I just don't think their dynamic works well together. However, I trust the Nuggets even less. Either your best player is a massive slow guy with Nikola Jokic. Jamal Murray is really nice, but he's not really a superstar yet. And they got a lot of good players. They have a well-rounded roster. But when you're in the playoffs, that roster size, like the actual roster, actually people on your team doesn't change. But the people you put onto the court, it's a lot of times it's 6-7 man rotations for the most of the game. Occasionally, like you get somebody coming off the bench, they get lower down the bench. But you really need to focus on your best players when it comes to the playoffs. And you look at the Rockets' best players, you look at the Nuggets' best players. Even though I don't like the Rockets' offensive system, I think that will be enough to get them over in a 7-game series. So I got the Rockets winning 4-3. Now, Jazz versus Thunder. I'm really intrigued to see the dynamic between Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. Coronavirus thing that happened before all this ended. And I'm interested to see how their chemistry works. Thunder have had a very nice year. Nobody expected them to be up at the 5th seed when the season started. Chris Paul, this time last year I was giving Chris Paul a little bit of hate, a little bit of disrespect, and he's proved me wrong so far. He's led a team of kids to a great spot. And they got so many picks. They've got something like 8 first-round picks over the next 5 years, I believe. So they're a team to look out for the future as long as they get their draft picks correct. But for the meantime, I got the Jazz winning that series 4-1. So bring that to the Western Conference semifinals. Our very first matchup would be Lakers versus Jazz. Jazz, very similar to the Nuggets, have a very good, well-rounded team. You got Gobert, Mitchell. What's that white guy's name? Bogdanovich. They got some nice players, but at the very least, who's guarding LeBron? Now, I don't think anybody can really contain LeBron in the league. You look at back in the 2014-15 finals, I believe, when the Warriors went up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Andre Iguodala won the MVP award for holding LeBron to 30-plus points a game. So you can't really do much to stop LeBron, but you can minimize him slightly. However, I don't think there's anybody on the Jazz that can do that. And the Lakers are, simply put, the better team. So I got the Lakers winning that series 4-1. Now that moves to the Rockets versus Clippers, which should be a very entertaining matchup. Now I would love to see Patrick Beverley clash heads again with Russell Westbrook. And this is, I think, when you see more of the Rockets team not working, especially all the mileage that Russell Westbrook's been put under, all the mileage that James Harden's been put under this whole season, and then coming off of a 7-game series, I got the Clippers winning that series 4-2. That brings the Battle of LA. Lakers, Clippers. Now, while I think this break does benefit the Clippers more, they didn't quite have the chemistry that we all thought they would. They haven't been able to gel all the players they have to put on the court, because they got a lot of players, Montrezl Harrell, Lou Will, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. They got a decent amount of players, a decent amount of good players, but it's all about that 5 you can put on the court. When you take the greatest player, in my opinion, greatest player of all time, and then you got the Clippers, who have 2 really good stars, but hasn't exactly worked together. I'll take the greatest player of all time, plus Anthony Davis, over that matchup. That's what we've seen over the year, at least. And while LeBron said this breaks hurt him, he's an old man. He's 36 years old. He's going to get a lot of rest out of this break. He's going to come back, hopefully even better than he was in the meantime. And I got the Lakers winning this series 4-2. Now, the NBA Finals. And once again, I don't know how many times in history we've had this, but Lakers, Celtics. In our lives, this is our 3rd matchup of Lakers Celtics. We've had them each win 1 apiece. Look at the Lakers first. So LeBron's averaging this year 26 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. Anthony Davis is 27 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. They both played very well. Anthony Davis, by himself when LeBron's not been on the floor, has struggled a bit. He hasn't been able to find his shot as well as we thought he would have, as he did on the Pelicans. Lakers have the home court advantage. They have the experience of LeBron being in the finals, 7, 8 times now. Danny Green, finals last year, has won multiple finals. And this team's built they need to win today. They need to win this year. You got a really old supporting cast. You got Jared Dudley, you got Dwight Howard, you got Danny Green there. And then let's look at the Celtics. Now, Jason Tatum's had a MVP arguable season. He's not going to win MVP, but he's proved himself to be worthy in the NBA. He's proved himself to really take a step forward. I had a lot of doubts at him coming out of college. I didn't see much out of him out of Duke because none of us did. He was injured. I had really high doubts whether he was going to be that good. It's funny hearing the story earlier this week how the Suns passed up on him because they didn't need another Devin Booker. Meanwhile, they also passed up Kawhi because he was sweating. It shows look at where the Suns are, look at where the rest of these teams are. And you got Kemba Walker, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. He's really stepped into Kyrie's the spot that Kyrie wanted to be, that the Celtics wanted Kyrie to be, and done it better. Now he's not loud, he's not boisterous. He's a really hard worker. I love that about him. I had doubts whether, going into this season when he was going to be a free agent, I was like, what should anybody do? Should the Hornets keep him and pay a below 6 foot point guard who is above 30? And should Kemba pass up on $200+ million to leave the Hornets? And then should another team pay upwards of 160, 170 million dollars for him, which once again, like I said, is a below 6 foot point guard who's 30 years old, usually doesn't work well in the league, work well in the league. However, he's came in and done really well. 21 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Celtics had a really good supporting cast, as I listed earlier. You got Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward, Marcus Smart, and his Canner. And this is a fun series. This is a mouth-watering series to think about. And I've thought about this. I had a really hard time thinking who is actually going to win this, and who else could it be, though, besides the Lakers and LeBron? Now, I know you guys are going to call me a LeBron fan, which I am. I've loved LeBron for many years now. However, I think that team is more built to win right now. I love the Celtics. I love what they have going forward. That's why I've gotten to go this far. I got them to beat teams like the Raptors, beat teams like the Bucks. I think they are a serious team, but not this year. I want to see Jason Tatum go up even another level, maybe get rid of Gordon Hayward, bring somebody else in. I would love to see this series so much. I would love to see the battle back and forth. Jason Tatum, whose game mimics a lot of Kobe Bryant, coming against this Lakers team. But I think LeBron's going to be able to get his 4th ring. Anthony Davis get his 1st ring. And the Lakers would win the series, in my opinion, 4-2. All right, buddy. It's been another edition of JK Sports. My name is Jacob. I like sports. This has been JK Sports. I hope you guys have all enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. Please get down, subscribe. Please get down in the comments. Please message me about stuff you think I could do better. And thank you guys all very much for your support. Have a great rest of your day.